Ladies and gentlemen, it is almost unofficially official. There are rumors. There's a lot of rumors saying The Rock will face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. Nobody else, not Roman Reigns, not anybody else again. Cody and The Rock. Now, some people like this, some people don't. Omer, where do you stand on this?
Oh, I want to first say that this is the money match you do.
Okay.
It is Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. Like, if you go back and watch the weeks building up to WrestleMania, it was crystal clear that the match the fans wanted to see, the match that WWE inadvertently or advertently, however they planned it, built up was Cody versus The Rock. When we got to Mania, the focus was less so on Roman and Cody and more so on Cody and Rock. And that beatdown that he had in Chicago, that promo, the slap heard around the world at that press conference in Vegas, all of that made us want to see Cody versus The Rock. I think that eventually we will get Roman and The Rock. I think they could easily do that at Survivor Series. They could easily do that at Royal Rumble leading up to, the WrestleMania match. But I like it. I think that at WrestleMania, in my view, and I know that the event has changed, but in my view, you do the biggest match on the biggest stage that means the most. And if you're looking at WWE right now, you're looking at who your stars are, you're looking at what the fans want. They were no hotter than when they were going into Mania, and it had to do with the chemistry that Rock and Cody had. It's a no-brainer for me. I'll talk about the title aspect of it in just a second after I hear thoughts from the wonderful Mr. Kenny Baum, but I think this is the match you do.
Yeah.
Well, I think you absolutely nailed it. So we started off, we were thinking it was going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and that looked like it was going to be the biggest match possible. But as we went on with this feud and this build to WrestleMania 40, the match clearly became Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, because we look at what happened when The Rock slapped him at that conference, and ever since then, as he took on this final boss persona, getting the old music back, turning into that full heel Rock, down to beating Cody Rhodes up outside by those trucks. It made you want to see Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. Now, even going past that, we saw after WrestleMania, The Rock and Cody Rhodes in the ring, and he had his title. It was like, I like your belt. Well, I like yours. Can I hold yours? And that segment was weird to everybody, but it looks like that was kind of foreshadowing things to come. Now, I thought we were going to get this match by SummerSlam or maybe Survivor Series, but it looks like that's not going to happen, as they are saying it's the plan for WrestleMania. So I think that's a good point you just made. I think you got to get Roman Reigns versus The Rock out of the way before you even think about Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, because you were kind of building that up first, and during that WrestleMania match, we saw Roman Reigns hit The Rock with that spear, and we never kind of got any final resolution on that. So I think you can have The Rock come back, take out Roman Reigns or whatever, and said, you couldn't get the job done, so I'm going to go get the job done at WrestleMania. But it looks like that's not 100% locked in yet, as WWE is saying they don't know if Cody Rhodes is going to be the champion around that time. But before we go any deeper into it, Kiddo, what about you? Do you think this should be the match? Because I think if told right, it could be perfect.
Cody versus The Rock. Well, I think, Omer, you kind of insinuated a little bit about one aspect that I definitely wouldn't enjoy, and it's The Rock coming there as if he's a actual champion himself with the People's Championship, because that's a championship that was just created out of midair. And we still have this weird situation with the Universal Championship too. I'm like, it's just really confusing. That championship shouldn't be there. And if that's the case, if we don't have that People's Championship, then I'm okay with it. Then I like it. Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, it is undoubtedly, whether we wanted it or not, just developed as the biggest story of the last year. In fact, until the main event of night 2, it was the biggest story. The Rock was everything. Cody was his biggest enemy, and Roman was still, again, and at the end of night 1, was overshadowed by The Rock until that second night with that amazing main event that made us forget about The Rock for a second there. But yeah, right after on Raw, even the segment itself, it was really weird, but still, you felt that sense of grandeur that, again, as soon as The Rock left, which he did something horrible to Cody Rhodes, saying whether you have the championship or not, I'm coming back, and I'm coming back for you. So, like how exciting can you make Cody Rhodes' journey now? Because we know what's going to happen at the end too. Well, that's another thing. But the fact is, WWE has set it up now. And it's just way too big to not be a WrestleMania main event. That is why I think not only is it good, but I really do think these rumors are going to be true. Especially, like, The Rock. He's not going to fight at SummerSlam. He's not going to do it. Like, some people were predicting he might go to Elimination Chamber and show up there and do a match for, the build up to last year's or this year's WrestleMania. It's just not going to happen. The Rock is just way too egotistical, I think. He's going to take that main event, whether he's with Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns, which I think it's going to be with Cody Rhodes this year, and then Roman Reigns next year. You might think it's crazy, but I think it's more than possible. So that is what I think. But Omer, what do you think about this title situation?
Oh, I think it's stinking hot garbage. Like, I understand The Rock is doing his Hollywood apology tour because he was peeing in bottles on set, and people were really mad about it. Voss water bottles, by the way. It was Voss water. Bougie peeing.
Damn.
And assistant had to carry it away, allegedly. Go read the story in the Wrap. But from a realistic standpoint, right? I mean, there is a degree of, like, there's a degree of cynicism, I think, in fans when they see stuff like that, because it just comes across as cheesy as The Rock coming around with this, like, essentially this, like, made up belt that he calls himself the People's Champ. He has for years, but now it's like a figurative championship. And I guess the idea is going to be at one point Cody Rhodes like wins and beats The Rock, and he becomes the new People's Champ, and he gets this moniker or whatever, and that's fine and good. But for me, it's a little bit too on the nose, making it into a real belt, just because it makes The Rock look bad. I thought at Mania when he came out with that belt, like, the belt looks cool. Don't get me wrong, and the whole Muhammad Ali thing, or like, that's whatever. But like, I just don't like it. I think the only way it makes sense in the story, and this would only be in the story and not in real life, and we know wrestling blends both.
Yeah.
The only way it makes sense is that The Rock, Hollywood Rock, the final boss, is such a self-righteous, self-absorbed, like, a-hole that he needs that validation of walking around with his own belt, and because he doesn't have the big one. All that being said, I mean, look, by the time we get to Mania, they're gonna make us forget about how crappy this whole belt thing is, and like the promos are gonna be great. And like, people are gonna want to see this match.
We're locked in.
And you got to remember, The Rock pinned Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania Night 1. So I don't think that's just going to fly without us getting any further resolution or another match out of it. So we'll see where it goes.